Around 3.2 million years ago, the African landscape stretched endlessly beneath a blazing sun. It was a world untamed and filled with raw life, where every living creature fought to survive. Towering grasses swayed in the hot breeze, scattered acacia trees offered patches of shade, and herds of early antelope grazed cautiously, always alert for predators. This was the birthplace of humanity, the land where Homo habilis, one of our earliest ancestors, began to shape its destiny. These small, intelligent beings had recently learned to use tools made of stone and bone. They were not the strongest or the fastest creatures of their time, but they possessed something that would change the course of evolution forever: the ability to think, adapt, and work together. On a dry afternoon, 3 members of a Homo habilis group moved carefully through the tall grass near a shallow watering hole. The group consisted of 2 males and 1 female, all hungry after days of scarce food. Their keen eyes searched for anything edible: fruits, roots, insects, or perhaps the remains of a carcass left behind by larger hunters. Each carried a primitive tool, a sharpened stone tied with plant fiber, used for cutting or breaking bones. They walked quietly, their bare feet pressing softly into the warm earth. The air smelled of dust, wildflowers, and danger. Suddenly, the female stopped and raised her hand, signaling the others. A rustling sound came from the dense bushes ahead, heavy and deliberate. The 3 crouched low, peering through the golden reeds. Emerging from the shadows was a massive animal, a saber-toothed wild boar, one of the most formidable beasts of its time. Its thick, muscular body glistened in the sun, covered in coarse dark fur. Long, curved tusks extended from its mouth, each one capable of ripping apart flesh and bone with terrifying ease. The creature, known as Metridiocourus andrewsi, was larger than any modern pig, standing nearly as tall as a human at the shoulder. It was powerful, aggressive, and extremely territorial. The boar snorted loudly, pawing the ground as it noticed the intruders. To this beast, the watering hole was its domain. The Homo habilis froze, their primitive minds racing with instinct: should they flee or defend themselves? They knew the speed and strength of such a creature could crush them in seconds. But retreat was not always an option in a world where survival meant courage and cooperation. With a thunderous grunt, the boar charged. The ground trembled beneath its hooves, and a cloud of dust rose as it barreled forward. The 3 early humans scattered in panic. One male dove behind a pile of rocks, while the others ran toward a tree, seeking higher ground. The female tried to climb but slipped; her body wasn't built for it. The younger male, desperate and trembling, grabbed a heavy stone and hurled it with all his strength. The rock struck the animal's side, barely slowing it down. The boar turned sharply, eyes blazing with fury. Its tusks cut through the air, grazing the bark of the nearby tree as it charged again. The older male, thinking quickly, picked up a stick from the ground, one that had been charred at one end from a small fire they had carried from lightning-struck wood days earlier. Waving the burning branch, he shouted and swung it wildly. Smoke curled into the air, and for a moment, the mighty boar hesitated. Fire was new to this world, strange, hot, and dangerous. The creature snorted, stamping its hooves, uncertain whether to attack or flee. The bright flame and the thick smell of smoke confused it. The female joined in, shouting and waving her arms, their combined movements and noise creating chaos that broke the animal's focus. Then, with a loud roar, the boar lunged again. The younger male reacted instinctively, slamming another stone down onto its snout. The sharp crack of impact echoed across the plain. Blood spattered onto the ground, and the creature recoiled, dazed and in pain. Snorting furiously, it turned and bolted back into the tall grass, vanishing as quickly as it had appeared. For a long moment, silence covered the land. The 3 Homo habilis stood still, breathing heavily, their hearts pounding. They had survived an encounter with one of the most dangerous beasts of their time, not by strength, but through instinct, unity, and the first spark of intelligence. The young male picked up his stone tool, staring at it with something new in his eyes: understanding. It was no longer just a rock. It was a weapon, a shield, a tool of survival. As the sun began to sink over the savannah, the trio gathered their courage and continued their journey. This small victory marked a turning point in their evolution, a moment when humankind began to realize the power of thought and cooperation. The world of 3.2 million years ago was harsh and unforgiving, but within that struggle, a new force was taking shape: the dawn of human intelligence, the spirit that would one day rule the earth.